What is up, New Beginnings Church? Happy Monday morning to you, and welcome to our devotional series. We are walking through the book of Proverbs. We began this journey with one goal: go get some wisdom. And so whatever day of the month it is, it's July 18th, so we're in Proverbs chapter 18. And I'm telling you what, the whole chapter is really, really good, but I locked into the very first verse, and it says this. It says, "Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment." Let me read that again here. It says, "Whoever isolates himself," another translation even says, "whoever is unfriendly, seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment." I was thinking about this because I thought, in light of coming out of the pandemic, 2 years now removed plus, and just looking at like how that affected people, what we learned was this: isolation is bad for humanity, right? So every measurable that you could look at was awful during the pandemic, right? As people isolated, everything from alcoholism went up, drug abuse went up, domestic violence went up, pornography use went up. I mean, you name it, just bad thing after the other. And it's obvious that we are not made to isolate. Actually, God has made us for relationships. You got to think that's the nature of Trinity, right? Father, Son, and Spirit in perfect, loving relationship with one another. And then, of course, God creates mankind, and he goes, "I created you in my own image, so therefore you're relational too." And then he, of course, if you remember the opening creation account, the first thing he does is look at Adam and say, hey, it's not good for man to be alone. And so the first issue that he addresses in all of creation is loneliness and isolation. And so we need to get this because it says this in the second verse, the second part. So it goes, he breaks out against all sound judgment. It's interesting, when you isolate, a lot of times, you miss out on all the benefits of having other people in your life. And two things take place. The first thing he goes, he who isolates seeks his own desire. What he's saying is this: singleness, isolatedness like that is very selfish, right? Anytime you live a life where you do what you want, when you want, how you want, you're spending your money how you want, you just come and go as you please because you're not responsible to or for anybody else. I'm not saying it's going to be selfish in an evil way, but the nature of it is selfishness because everything revolves around you, and you really have to work hard to give yourself to other people and to serve other people. But the other one was that he breaks out against all sound judgment. Relationships add so much value to your life. As a matter of fact, I'll give you 5 things that it adds to your life. And the first one is this: it helps you with perspective. It says that he breaks out against all sound judgment, meaning this: you can be so isolated that whatever you think, you're convinced that you're right and everybody else is wrong. And now you don't listen to good wisdom and good counsel and good judgment anymore, right? And so being around people gives you incredible perspective on life. I've done this before. I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm in a bad mood, I'm in a bad way, and I start telling my friend what's got me so angry, so worked up, whatever. And sometimes just hearing me say it out loud, I'm sitting here thinking God, this sounds kind of petty, Todd. You should probably let this go. Or I get to hear my friend's point of view. And again, some of your best friends will give you an opposite point of view just on purpose to help you think bigger. And so having great relationships is going to broaden your perspective. Number 2 is it's going to make you healthier. There's a number of different physical studies that show this, that people that isolate are unhealthy, and people that thrive in relationships are actually healthier in their physical body. As a matter of fact, when you look at what's called blue zones, where you have large pockets of people that live to be 100 or older, what you find is this: thriving relationships. Many times they're living in homes with multiple generations, living in small communities with great friendships and great community. It matters. And so we have a phrase that we've used for years around here, and it goes something like this: it's better to eat Twinkies amongst friends than to eat broccoli by yourself. And so you do, but let's be honest, it's better to eat broccoli with friends probably. But if you had to choose one, you choose people. Number 3 is it's just safer. It's just safer to have friends. Solomon said this in the book of Ecclesiastes. He goes, man, if a guy is alone and he falls down, who will help pick him up? If he's cold, who's going to keep him warm? You just need friends. Life is safer with friends. You're going to have hard times. You're going to have times where you have doubt, fatigue, failure. You just need loved ones to pick you up and help you out. And that's the other thing too, is you can't feel genuinely loved without having some type of close relationship around you. And so for me to have a better perspective, more health, safer, feel more loved. And now the last one is this though. The last one is how are you going to actually fulfill God's calling for your life isolated? You can't. It's impossible. As a matter of fact, I dare you, go read the New Testament. You cannot actually be a New Testament follower of Jesus and not be engaged in community, because the things that he commands you to do and not to do all have to do with you being inside of a relationship. And so for you to fulfill God's highest calling, you've got to be connected to other people. And so my big warning to you is make sure you're not isolated. Make sure that you have quality relationships that add all those values to your life, church. I love you guys so much. God bless you. I will see you tomorrow.